So this is a technique for filleting round fish like sea bass, sea bream, snapper, mullet. By round fish, I mean fish that look round when you look at them. They're all filleted in much the same way. Before filleting, sometimes when you buy bass particularly, they come with the guts in, but I've already taken those out. But to get the guts out, you just take your knife from the anal fin right through to the head and cut open the gut cavity, and then you just literally pick out the guts, wash it. That's how to remove the guts. And also, most fish come ready scaled these days, but if you have to scale a fish, use something like a scaler. You can use a knife as well. Work from the tail up to the head, just scraping the scales off like that. So, we're now ready to fillet. The first cut I'm going to make is behind the pelvic fin and behind the fin next to the gill cavity. And the reason I do that is it makes it much easier to fillet the fish if these two fins are removed and I take them off and they'll stay with the head. So I just take my knife behind the pelvic fin. Notice I've got the blade like that because I'm trying to avoid losing as much flesh as I can. Then I turn the fish over and do exactly the same there. Find the pelvic fin just behind it like that, working on the slant just to take that fillet from the head. Right, the next thing I do is the main cut for filleting the fish is to run my knife right from the tail up to the head, or the other way around, it doesn't matter. And I keep the knife as close as I can to where the backbone is, and the dorsal fin here is right coming out of the backbone. Notice the knife, it's a very nice flexible bladed fish filleting knife, very thin so that I can easily feel the bones. So in as smooth a movement as possible, I just run the knife right up the fish like that, and using my fingers I just open up the fillet a little bit so that I can see what I'm doing and see that I'm cutting as close to the backbone as possible. Having got through to the centre of the fish, I now take my knife, push it about 1/3 of the way up from the tail, right through the fish against the backbone, and just run the knife towards the tail just to free that bit of the fish. And I take my knife, turn the other way, and just run the knife up against the backbone, cutting through the rib bones. So I've got one fillet taken off, and now turn the fish over and do exactly the same thing on the other side. Again, the first cut is right against the backbone, against the dorsal fin. Just one cut all the way down, lift the fillet away from the backbone so that I can see what I'm doing. Cut again as close to the backbone as I can. Run my knife for about 1/3 of the way up the fish towards the tail to free the fillet from the tail, and then put my knife right through the fish and run it up towards the head to free the rib bones, okay? Now just to remove the rib bones, I just take my knife, and this is where the flexible blade comes in so usefully. I'm just working the blade against those rib bones as close as I can because I don't want to waste any of that precious fillet. So I've done one fillet, that's virtually ready to go, and now I do the other. Again, taking my thin bladed knife and working it against the rib bones as closely as I can. Notice that bit of yellow discoloration, that's the gallbladder, it's very bitter, so you certainly don't want that in the fillet. The next thing I need to do is to remove the pin bones. The pin bones are a row of bones that run about 2/3 of the way down the fish. They're not actually attached to any of the other bones, but they are the real bane of people that worry about fish bones' life because they're the ones that get caught in your throat. So I just run my finger along the fillet till I feel a bone, get my pliers onto it. It's quite tricky on a small fillet like this because the bones are quite small. There they are. Just ease them out. As you see, they're growing in like that, so you just pull them out in the way that they're growing. If you pull them out against the way they're growing, you'll tear the flesh. And again, find another little bone there, get my pliers around it and take out the bone. Just work the way down. Actually on this, that's all there is. Sometimes they go further. So then I've got my pin bones out and my fillets are ready to be fried, to be deep fried, to be steamed, whatever.